वागर्ताविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्तप्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं दोर्भिर्युक्ता चतुर्भिर्स्फटिकमणिमयीमक्षमालां दधाना हस्तेनेकैन पद्मं सितमपि च शुकं पुस्तकं चापरेण भासाकुन्देन्दुशङ्कस्फटिकमणिनिभा भासमाना समाना सा मे वाग्देवतेयं निवसतु वसने सर्वदा सुप्रतिष्ठा सदा शिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथिता पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्ददामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् ओम। First of all, it is indeed my pleasure. I am blessed, I must say, to come to this complex. I came 2 days back. I had a very strange feeling when I came here. I just came 2 days back to just check if everything is all right. Somehow I felt very, very different. There was a vibration, there was a strong vibration which I felt. So I am indeed blessed to be here, for which I must thank Sri Gita. I must thank Ramachandra and these trustees of the two trusts. I must thank all of you because you have given an opportunity for us to meet here. With the grace of the Lord, I am sure we will spend the next 7 days thinking about one of the greatest texts that this country has seen, namely Bhagavad Gita. And Bhagavad Gita has enjoyed a very special position. I will talk about it soon. But I must first of all confess that we are all blessed. Reason is, between 6:30 and 8, we can do 100 things. We could attend to something, we can do a bhajan, which is good. We can watch a serial. I can have a chat with my friend. There are 100 things that we can do. First important question is, why did we come here? I want to address that first. Because my own experience says we will not come by accident at all. We will not just like that come here. Coming for a satsanga, it doesn't happen just like that. We may think like that. I know Sri GL, so he asked, I gave a name. It never happens like that. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, In chapter 7, there are two nice slokas which come to my mind. There is one sloka in which he says, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye. Krishna says, of all these people, thousands of them make an effort. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid, some people, of thousands of these people, some people make an effort. That's the first line. Then he says, Yatatam api siddhanam kaschit mam veti tattvataha. Of these people who tried, only a few people know me finally. This is what he says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 7. So our effort to come here is we belong to that selected few out of thousands of people. I always strongly believe in it. We will not just like that come. It is not a throw of a dice. I think there is this feeling that we have to get together. We want to get together for a common reason. And that reason is we want to know something. And so in the same chapter, he also says what will happen if we try this. If we keep doing this satsanga need not be just Bhagavad Gita lecture. I am not saying that. There could be wonderful bhajan on a Thursday here. It could be something on the Ishvara Sannadhi, I hear it happens. It could be that. So he says in another shloka, Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamitam si mahatma sudurlabha. He says this will take you. This will take you to something which we are all actually looking at. So I feel we are indeed blessed, because this is a choice which he has made for us. We have not made the choice. We have decided to come together and have some thought. It is a Bhagavad Sankalpa that we are all here. This Bhagavad Gita, of course Bhagavad Gita has a lot of controversy also. It all depends on, if you give me a tool, it all depends on how do I use it. If you give a flower, a garland of flowers to a monkey, it knows what to do with that. In about 10 minutes, it will tear it into and then sprinkle it all over the place, throw the threads and then go. So it is no fault of the garland. So in the same way, Bhagavad Gita is, if I can use Shankaracharya's definition, he says, Sarva Shastra Sara Sangraha. It is really a collection of everything that we want to know about certain things. It is all distilled and given to us so nicely. That's what he says. He says Sarva Shastra Sara Sangraha. The juice, the essence. Sara is the essence. Oh, we don't have to read Shastras. See, in our country, in this country, there is this tradition that if somebody says, I have understood the meaning of life, I have understood what I need to understand, people test them with three texts, three important works. If they know these three important works, they say you have understood. It's called Prasthanatraya. There are three of them. One is called Dashopanishad, the 10 Upanishads. Okay? Then there is something called Brahma Sutra Bhashya, Brahma Sutra. Then the third is called Bhagavad Gita. See, the point is, Brahma Sutra is very difficult. There is just one short piece, three words. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. You need to spend about 20 hours to find out what is this. It is just Ataha Brahma Jigyasa. There are only 4 words there. It's a very, very concise, cryptic, very, very tight. So Brahma Sutra is very difficult. Upanishad is a little easier. Compared to Brahma Sutra, Upanishad is slightly easier. There are some stories, it expands it in a little more detail. But at one level, doing Upanishad is difficult. But if you compare it Brahma Sutra, it is easier. Then comes Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is the easiest. So we will see it. You will see how Sarala is this text. It is such a beautiful, such nicely written, so easily written, but it has captured the essence of Brahma Sutra, it has captured the essence of Upanishads, so we don't have to read all that. It is enough we understand what is contained in Bhagavad. That is the charm of this text. It is so beautifully written, so easily also, talked about. It's one of the greatest texts. So, Bhagavad Gita has, if you ask what is there in Bhagavad Gita, if you ask me, sir, is Bhagavad Gita some text which I have to, every day Parayana, then I will think the value is very less. Parayana is useful. God says even without knowing meaning, if you do Parayana, it will be good. But if you know the meaning, it is even better. So if you ask me, is Bhagavad Gita a text which every day we can do a Parayana? You can do it. But it has a lot more use for us. Broadly, if you ask me, Bhagavad Gita gives us answers for two broad set of things in our. One I call it as Paramarthika, and another I call it as Vyavaharika. Vyavahara, day-to-day life. There are so many things we go through in day-to-day life. Now, if I tell you Bhagavad Gita has answers for it, then it is useful. So in Vyavahara, there are so many things. I am upset, I am not happy, things are not happening. There are all kinds of issues we face in life. I call all of them as Vyavaharika. Vyavahara Sambandha Vishayagalu. Bhagavad Gita has answers for that. The another is called Paramarthika. I want to know some greater principles. Who am I? What is God? Who said we don't have such questions? We also have such questions. And Bhagavad Gita can answer those questions also. In fact, my personal journey in Bhagavad Gita is exactly this. You take Bhagavad Gita, I am able to use it to talk about management, which is Vyavahara. What is management? Management is Vyavahara. How do you manage? There are activities, there are people. We want to do it properly, we want to do it efficiently. All these are called management. I find Bhagavad Gita is useful for that. Bhagavad Gita is also useful for us to have certain things. So let me first of all talk about what kind of issues we face in life. I think any knowledge that we get, if we cannot relate it to our life, it is of no use. So I am not going to tell something which is all out somewhere. I think that is of no use. Let us first start asking, we are all ordinary individuals. We are all not rishis, we are all not the realized souls. We are of course in that journey, that's why we have come here. In fact, every one of us is in that journey. Nobody can escape this journey. At best what you can do is you can go slow, you can stop, you can do a U-turn and go in a wrong direction for some time. All that we can do, but eventually we have to go there. So all of us have a journey, and in our life, in every one of our life, we face two types of issues. So I will little bit talk about those, because let us know the context for Bhagavad Gita first. Then let us go to slokas. I am not in great hurry to get into slokas today. Let us get an understanding of why do we need this text. Why is this text such a celebrated text? So important, so grand. Let us put our handle on that. So the first type of issues, every one of us, in fact every one of us in this room, every one of us walking outside on this road will face it. We face one set of issues, I call it as individual issues. Each one of us is a Vyakti. Each one of us is a unit which is individual. I am different from you, you are different from he is different from she, and so on. So if you ask what is the question we face, there is a very, very important question we face as an individual. It has nothing to do with whether you are a professor, whether you are a general manager, whether I am not at all getting there. Whether you are a homemaker, whether you are a president of the trust, let it be anything. Every one of us as an individual face one question. Some of us ask openly, some of us don't ask it openly, but it is running at the back of our mind. And what is that? And that is, there is something called a Jiva. There are so many Jivas sitting here. There is something called Jagat. This universe is such a wonderful universe that God has created. It is called Jagat. So there is a Jiva, there are so many Jivas. There is a Jagat. There is a Ishvara. You name whichever way you want to name, it doesn't really matter. It is only Sanatana Dharma which says you name it whichever way you want to name. You call it Krishna, you call it Rama, you call it Christ, you call it Allah, it doesn't really matter. It is only Sanatana Dharma which says there is something called Ishvara, a force which is bigger than all these. Now every one of us have a question. The question is, how are these three related? What is the connection between Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara? We may not be asking this question openly, directly, but in our mind it is running. This is one individual question. So this question is true of everyone, notwithstanding your position in the society, notwithstanding your age, notwithstanding whether you are a male or a female, notwithstanding whether you are a European or a Indian or a Telugu or a Tamil or a Kannada. It has nothing to do with all these. Every Jiva wants to understand, how do you connect this triangle? Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara. How do you connect this? This is a question running at the back of our mind. Sometimes it comes up. When something happens, we connect Jiva and Ishvara and ask this question. When something else happens, we connect Jiva and Jagat and ask this question openly. But this question is always there. This is one type of individual issue. Nobody can deny this. Another individual issue is, who am I? This is not a very easy answer. Don't think it is an easy answer. Don't tell you are Professor B. Mahadevan. That is not the answer at all. Don't show the date of birth or passport. Once this person goes, passport will also go, date of birth will also go. Question is, what will happen to that person? Again, this question we may not sometimes ask openly. Every individual goes through this question. Nobody will escape this question. Who am I? Where from did I come? Where am I going? There are occasions in life we ask this question. We sit and very rarely we may do it. That time we remember, oh, this question was part of me. Who am I? What am I supposed to do? This is a question which you can answer at a Vyavaharika level and at a Paramarthika level also. What am I supposed to do? Why have I come here? What am I supposed to achieve and go in this life? We don't ask this question openly all the time, but we will ask this question from time to time. So like that, there are many questions. These are all, I call it as individual issues. We want answers for it. Who said we don't want answers? If somebody can give us answers, if somebody can, if not give answers, at least show me the direction to find the answer. Sometimes we may not get the answer, but at least they will say, think in this direction, you may get some answers. I will be happy. Bhagavad Gita can do that. So Bhagavad Gita can answer that issue which all of us are facing. In its own way, it will actually show something. And if we get the right orientation, maybe we will understand that. This is called as individual issue. Then all of us, again, also face set of issues which I call it as issues because I am a member of a society. I don't stand alone. I am not in a vacuum. None of us are in a vacuum. The charm of this universe is none of us are in the vacuum. We are part of a larger society. And that larger society has given me many names. At this point in time, it has given me a name that I am actually a lecturer. or I am talking. 2 hours later, it may give me a name that I am the father. Tomorrow morning, it may give me a name that I am a professor of IAM. Day after tomorrow morning, it may give me a name that I am a member of a society which is doing some social service. We are part of the society. And that actually throws a lot of questions which we have. I am working. All of us are working. The greatest charm of Bhagavad Gita, as far as I know, this is the only text which says nobody can run away from working. Chapter 3 specializes on that. That's why I chose chapter 3. Nobody can run away from working. As long as we live, we have to work. In fact, we say, no sir, I do no work. You have actually created work in that process. So no work is also work in some ways. So we are all working in our own ways. Some of us are working at home, some of us are working in a temple, an honorary role, some of us are working in organizations. So there are a whole lot of questions that come. We go through a lots of ups and downs in our moods, in our feelings, in what we think. I want answers for that. How do I address that? Is there a way I can address these questions? Or I just throw my hands and say it is all helpless? Is there a way somebody can tell me there is a way you can organize your life, working life? Talking of working life, being a professor of management, I will tell you, I am sure all of you experience it, I am only saying it. The biggest challenge today in working life is people are losing meaning in their workplace. Deprived meaning in the workplace. This happens for a priest in a temple. It happens for a software engineer in a multinational company. It happens for a lady at home. It happens from time to time that we are losing meaning. There is no satisfaction. Sometimes we feel, what is going on here? No satisfaction. No meaning to what I am doing. Deprived meaning to what I do can create a lot of problems. Today's society is going through that. Work is becoming less meaningful. People don't understand. I mean, they get salary and all that, but they don't understand what for are they working. What is the meaning? So is there somebody who can connect me to that idea? Bhagavad Gita will do. Great contribution of Bhagavad Gita is make working professionals joyful. This is my own personal experience. It's my personal knowledge that I have obtained from Bhagavad Gita. Another issue, think about it. Sustainability is a big challenge today. Look at the rains that is battering Chennai. Sustainability has become a huge, it is a big, undercurrent. We have not still felt. Sustainability is a big problem. It took about 2.5 hours or 3 hours to wind the clock back by 200 years in a place called Kedarnath 3 years back. After the flash floods, I saw a photo of Kedarnath after the flash floods. By the side they put a photo of 1869, both looked alike. This was black and white, this was colored, that was the only difference. Nature can decide to change the course of life. Today in modern discourse, whether it is at home, whether it is at educational institutions, whether it is at office, whether it is in society, nobody seems to be bothered about sustainability at all. How do I understand sustainability? Wonderful ideas are there in chapter 3 in Bhagavad Gita. We will see that. Sustainability is an issue which we are all facing as a society. So when I say sustainability, there are 3 dimensions to sustainability, which there is a Paris climate conference that happened. Government of India came with a book called Parampara. So they contacted me, he said, Professor, can you give a nice writing on sustainability for Parampara? I actually gave. So they sent me a photo. You have just released the Parampara book. As soon as we come back, we will send you the book. I have written an article there. My argument was simple. Sustainability has 3 dimensions. We'll talk about that in great detail as we go along because there are wonderful slokas in chapter 3. The 3 dimensions of sustainability according to me, number 1, everybody knows environmental sustainability. Pollution, flash floods, this is all many people talk. In climate control also they talk only about it. There are 2 more sustainabilities. There is something called financial sustainability. If you run a business, you run a trust, you run something. There is a sustainability issue involved there. Then there is a third sustainability called social sustainability. In fact, the social sustainability is not being discussed by anybody. In the Parampara article, I have emphasized that. I have quoted from chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita. I said this is a contribution of this country. Sustainability is not just climate. Sustainability has 3 dimensions. We will see some slokas at that time, we will see in some detail. I just wanted to tell you that Bhagavad Gita can do even that. It's possible to do that. Other personal issues. Notion of work is very unclear to us. We should be honest to agree to it. The notion of work is not at all clear. We don't know what work means. Today work means pay, salary, promotion. There are dimensions like that. We have not understood what work means. What does it mean? Wonderful slokas in chapter 3 which talks about this. What is this work? So Krishna to me is not the God personified. I see him as one of the greatest social scientists as well as a management philosopher. Because I find lots of interesting ideas which are there, which are in the Vyavaharika plane. I am now talking on the Vyavaharika plane, not in the Paramarthika plane. Okay? So this deprived meaning of work, how do you get joy of work? I find wonderful ideas in Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 3 and chapter 4 has great ideas on that. Okay? Because today, for many of us honestly, however sincere we are working, work is drudgery. It's all drudgery, boring. Okay? So we need, Bangalore, don't get out on Saturday and Sunday. You will never find a way to go out. Because these youngsters get into a habit called weekend getaway. So why weekend getaway? Because work is boring. Now you have to escape from boredom. How do you escape from boredom? Do something else. See, I was in US for 1 year, about a year, 10 months, 99-2000. The amazing thing I found in a very jovial sense they will say, but I think there is some meaning. They say, sir, Thursday and Friday, it's a 5-day week in US. Thursday and Friday we will discuss about where should we go for the weekend. Monday and Tuesday we will discuss how was it. Wednesday, solid work. Anyway, that's on the lighter vein. But the point I am making is our understanding of work today is work is drudgery. Bore. In fact, talking about boredom, I read somewhere, I think Swami Ranganathan's book or somewhere I read. He says, 700 years back, the word boredom was not there in the English dictionary at all. The word was introduced later. Today the most frequently heard sound if you go out, boring, yeah. Bore is used, 30% vocabulary will be on surrounding bore. Oh, it is boring. Why life is boring? When life is boring, therefore there is a huge entertainment industry which will try to give you another type of boredom. Anyway, so I think these kind of ideas are there. We want answers. We want some ideas. If not answers, again, can we have a direction to address these issues about work? Because all of us get on to work, but there is a nagging feeling. What is happening? What to expect out of work? You ask anybody today, what to expect out of work? They will say faster promotion, greater salary. I will quit this job and go to another job. So like that, there are several dimensions are there. While these dimensions are, I am not saying these dimensions are bad or not required. But Bhagavad Gita adds some more dimensions which I see more important. So I am not saying take all these out of the variable. Keep it into your equation. But some important issues are missing, bring that also inside. What to expect out of work? If you say I am working, what to expect out of it? Bhagavad Gita seems to give some answers even for that kind of questions. All these are in chapter 3 and 4. Okay? What is my responsibility towards society? We have not asked that question very openly, or maybe implicitly we ask. We have our own ideas which can vary in the entire continuum. So Gita has answers even for that. In fact, chapter 3, slokas 9 to 20 are wonderful slokas. I will spend 2 days only on that. What is our responsibility for this wonderful creation called Jagat, of which I am a part? Our ancestors have thought about it very elaborately. Unfortunately, we don't teach anything in the modern curriculum, so our youngsters don't know that. So we have our own ideas. What is our responsibility towards this society? You have answers even for that. In fact, very unexpectedly, Gita can also answer on career choices. Because today, what is happening, I have written a couple of articles on that using Bhagavad Gita shlokas. Today the whole of Indians say you have to become an engineer first. After that you have become a management student. It's very illogical, Each one of us must be different, right? My skill should be different from your skill. Your skill must be different from your skill, and your skill. How can you paint all of them with the same brush? The conversation is not there today. Career choices means all of you, whether they like it or not, put them into some engineering college and then get them out of the engineering college, put them into a software company and then ask them to do an MBA. We have answers even for that. Our notion of Prakriti, our notion of what is this Prakriti, how should it drive certain life choices is so beautifully explained in Bhagavad Gita. So even you want answers for that, it will show you some direction. So that is the kind of text that we want to see. That is the kind of a book that we want to see. It will answer, so I have so far talked only Vyavaharika issues, because we all know that it has issues with Paramarthika. All spiritual ideas are anyway part of it. I don't have to explain it in great detail. That's why I never try to explain it in detail. I am saying this text can be used by anybody. Decide what lens you want. Depending upon the lens you have, you will find there. These two lenses are available. Use it and then dip into this great text. So that is what Bhagavad Gita is about, broadly. And of that, for some reason we will look at chapter 3. Chapter 3 is titled Karma Yoga. This itself is a very interesting combination of two words, karma and yoga. We have combined karma, in a loose sense, you can say work, in a Vyavaharika sense. In a spiritual sense, it means something. So we are saying work, we put yoga alongside work. Because now you have power yoga, this yoga, now I am saying work yoga. Okay? Karma yoga. This itself conveys something very interesting. Because in a way this title is suggesting, when you do karma, there are two paths on which you can travel. You can travel karma in a path called bhoga, not yoga. Karma bhoga. Karma for bhoga. If you travel in that route, bhoga will take you to roga. Roga can be blood pressure and diabetes also. I am not talking some weird rogas. I am saying if you approach work in a particular dimension, work can create stress for you. Work can be very stressful, which a lot of people are experiencing today. Because it doesn't belong to the category called karma yoga. It belongs to the category called karma bhoga. That's why it led us to a roga. This can happen to a person working in a temple also. It can happen to a person who is doing social service also. That is the charm of this chapter. It tries to clarify, it doesn't assume what kind of work you are doing. It assumes every one of us are part of the society, we have to do something, we have to contribute. How do you actually look at this whole issue of me contributing my time? That is the question which is being answered. So Sri Krishna says karma yoga. Do karma in a way that it becomes yoga. So that is the title. So the title of the chapter itself is a little interesting. It says don't look karma in a particular way, look at it in a different way. That is what he is sort of communicating through this kind of a title that you have. Okay. So let us quickly dip into chapter 3. What I will do is I will quickly take you through what is there in chapter 3. Quick summary we will do and then get into specific slokas. So chapter 3, as I have already spoken, has ideas on all these. It will tell you how to make work meaningful. Work must be meaningful. Otherwise it is not worth doing any work. God's work, my own personal work, social work, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make meaning to me. How do I approach work? How should I approach work? Whatever work I do, how do I approach work? That is, some ideas are there. I already talked about sustainability. There is a great concept called yajna, beautifully explained in chapter 3 and explained in chapter 4. These are the two places in Bhagavad Gita. It talks beautifully about yajna. So chapter 3 focuses on sustainability. Chapter 4 focuses on your self-evolution using the same concept of yajna. Anyway, our inherent nature, each one of us have our own prakriti. No two person can be same. This is the greatest find and fundamental building block of everything that we are supposed to do in this country. This is the fundamental building block of this country. We have actually lost most of it now. Some ideas are there. On that, there are good ideas on leadership. Some of the things I teach in IA in Bangalore, I find better slokas here. Walking the talk, leading by example. These are words in the last 10-15 years in leadership. People are talking. There are beautiful slokas which are saying that and saying something even better than that. So ideas on leadership is there. And how to avoid being a victim of situation. The chapter ends with this question that Arjuna asked. He asked a wonderful question. He said, Anichanapi Vashne Baladiva Niyojitaha. Why did it happen? I didn't have Icha. Anicha. Icha was not, I didn't want to do. It looked like somebody Baladiva Niyojitaha. Somebody pushed me into the situation. That was the final question that Arjuna asked, for which the chapter ended with 6 beautiful slokas. Krishna was trying to explain why is it happening. So these kinds of things are there in chapter 3. So this is how chapter 3 is. Shloka 1 and 2 together is a question that Arjuna is asking. He asked the question to Krishna because something happened in chapter 2. And because something happened in chapter 2, in chapter 3, Arjuna asked the question. In 2 slokas he constructs a question. And in shloka 3, quickly Krishna disposed the question with a sweet, cute answer which required explanation, for which he used 3 chapters. Chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5. But he disposed it off with a 1 shloka. Simply. Quick answer. That's all the first 3 shlokas. Then shlokas 4 to 8, some ideas about how do you approach, what is work? How do you, some principles, axioms or principles of work. What does it mean to work? Doesn't matter what work we do. How do you approach work? What should happen to you when you work? Such ideas are there. Some principles of work. Shlokas 9 to 31 is a grand theme called how do you attain freedom for work. You know what is the honest feeling? Work bothers me. Work affects me, sometimes positively, sometimes negatively. But work affects me. Something happens, it affects me. How do you step out of that? You really find freedom. That is called freedom. So that is being talked about in these 22 slokas, 23 slokas, in which ideas of leadership, ideas of yajna, ideas of mutual dependence, all those are all brought, some nice ideas are brought in to tell, look at like this. Things you will stay out of whatever is happening. You will stay aloof. Staying aloof is the biggest challenge in life. Water on the lotus leaf. The examples are very nice. The question is the reality. How do you develop an attitude towards it? How do you develop a culture towards it? That is being explained. Then there are in between some slokas which talks about Prakriti and its relationship to work. And a grand, beautiful, dramatic explanation of some of these are found in a movie called Three Idiots. Because they took this idea only, in my opinion, and really made a movie out of it. It only said three people had three different nature, they should do what they should be doing. Something like that. Then of course the chapter ended with again a question. I just now said, Anichanapi Vashneya Baladivani Yojitaha. Why am I becoming victim of situation? How do I avoid it in my life? For which Krishna answered, Kama Yesha, Krodha Yesha, Rajoguna Samudbhavaha. He starts like that, and there are last six slokas, 37 to 43. Is actually his reply to Arjuna's question. This is how chapter is laid out. I wanted to give you a bird's eye view of the chapter so that we can start dipping into individual slokas. So now let me start with the specific slokas of the chapter. Now that we have a sense of why do we need, what is great about Bhagavad Gita text, what is special about chapter 3, now we will see the details in terms of what's being told. So we'll start with the first sloka. Arjuna uvacha jyayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tatkim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi keshava. So the first sloka starts Arjuna uvacha. Thus said Arjuna. See, the interesting part in Bhagavad Gita, I don't know how many of you have noticed if you have read Bhagavad Gita. See, there is this misconceptions about ancient Indian wisdom. There are thousands of misconceptions, wrong ideas. One of the wrong idea is you should not ask questions, you have to keep quiet. No, don't. You should not ask any question. In fact, in schools, if a student asks too many questions, the teacher knows how to give a punishment. We have gone to that level now. Our ancestors never thought like that. In fact, in next chapter he says, Tad viddhi pranipatena pariprashnena seveya upadekshanti te jnanam jnanina tattvadarshina. Pariprashna. You should be able to have, questioning is not questioning on the basis of ahankar. I will catch hold of the teacher, or I will show that I know. Not that kind of questioning. A genuine search for knowledge. So, although Arjuna, if you read chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita, he was destroyed to the core. Chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita, if you read, Arjuna is completely discounted. Useless person, like that he became. So he was lying low. But even after lying low, he was not lying low. When need to ask question, he was asking. Quite a few questions he asked. He is not just a dumb listener. He asked questions to Krishna whenever required. So here he is going to ask. So what is the question he is asking? Jayasi. Jayasi is superior. Jayaha is better or superior. Chet, if it was. Chet is a Sanskrit word which says if it was. Okay? Karmanaha, compared to karma, buddhihi. So, hey Janardana, the last says Janardana, which is vocative. Sambodhana pradama. Hey Janardana, mata, by your mind, mata is opinion. By your opinion, by your own opinion, you said, compared to karma, buddhi is better. I am literally translating. Compared to karma, buddhi is better. Tat kim, if that is the case, second line says tat kim, if that is the case, gore karmani, in this wretched job. What is a wretched job? Kill your teacher, kill the grandfather, kill your cousins. That is the job, na? Mahabharata war. So why are you niyojayasi? Why are you throwing me into this action when you yourself told that buddhi is better than karma? What is buddhi? Buddhi in this means jnana, yoga buddhi. So what he is, in the first shloka, what he is saying? Hey Krishna, just now you told me, which means there is a connection to chapter 2. Now I have to tell a little bit of chapter 2. Only then we will understand this. What is he saying? Hey Krishna, hey Janardana, you just now told me that jnana is better than karma. Having said this, why are you asking me to do karma? That's the question he is asking. That too, it's a wretched work. Killing people who are all respected. Right? Why are you doing that to me? So, the first point is, there are very, this is just the stula. The ancient Indian wisdom, strength lies not in stula, it lies in sukshma. You have to get into this particular shloka and understand. Now, why did he say that? Why did Arjuna say that is a question. We have to understand the psychology of Arjuna. The reason why I am saying this is Bhagavad Gita is not at all for Arjuna. Arjuna is a proxy. It is for our situations are being discussed. We have to know that first. We are not discussing war. If you think they are discussing war, you got a stula artha. You haven't got the sukshma. Every shloka in Bhagavad Gita is discussing a problem that you and I are going through. So let us first decipher the psychology of Arjuna. Why is he making a statement like this? Then we will understand what is going on. We can relate it to some things in our life. Firstly, let us look at factually. Chapter 2 has 72 shlokas. One of the biggest chapters. 72 shlokas. First 10 shlokas are all Arjuna crying, leave me, I will run away, all those which continued from chapter 1. From the 11th shloka, real teaching starts. 11th shloka to 72nd shloka. Now this teaching which Krishna is imparting to Arjuna has 3 blocks. Shloka 11 to 38 is one block. 39 to 53 is the second block. 54 to 72 is another block. So there are 3 blocks. The shloka 11 to 38 is all about jnana. It talks about Atman. It's all that Paramarthika ideas. What is Atman? What will happen? Why are you worried about life and death? There is something more than that. These are all spiritual ideas. It is about jnana. In fact, the first shloka in that is Ashochan Anvashochastvam Prajnavadamsya Bhashase Gatasun Agatasunscha Nanusochanti Panditaha Na Anusochanti Panditaha. A wise man, in fact, Krishna in that 38 shloka, there is one powerful message he left. What is it? You can eliminate grief only with wisdom. As long as you have ignorance in life, you will have grief. Jnana is very important to overcome sadness. Wisdom is required to overcome grief. As long as we don't have wisdom, grief will be there. So that he explained in many ways. He said jnana is great. That was the first 11 to 38. 39 to 53 has this famous shloka, Karmanyeva adhikaraha ma paleshu kadachana ma karma pala heturbhuhu ma te sangastu akarmani. It says work, work and work. Work is very important. So that in between, about 15, 17 shlokas, he says work is important. He talks so great about work. Then 54th shloka, Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha. That's a question. Arjuna asked a question. Who is this Sthita Prajna? Person of firm resolve. So he gave again some 18 shlokas. He took really jnana to its end. Beautiful shlokas are there. There is a 70th shloka. Apuryamanam achalam pratishtam samudram apaha pravishanti yadvat. Just like water enters into a great ocean, the greatest river in the world, Brahmaputra or Nile or Amazon can empty trillions and trillions of liters of water into the ocean will not even shake. Achala Pratishtam, Apuryamanam, it is embodiment of fullness. The ocean is an embodiment of fullness. Greatest river can do nothing to it. Krishna says, be like that in your life. You have to reach there. You should become an embodiment of Tadvat, is what is Akamakami, is what he says. So what he did, first 15-20 slokas, he said, Jnana is great. Last 15-20 slokas, he said, Jnana is great. In between, he said, Karma is great. That is why he asked, this is one way to ask, understand why he is confused. This is factual. The point is not there. It's much deeper than this. The question he asked is not because of that. You know why he asked? This fellow wants to run away from. He wants an answer from Krishna, become a sannyasi. He is not willing to give that answer. The central problem in Bhagavad Gita is Arjuna wants to get out of the war field. Krishna is not allowing him to do. And because Arjuna is now wanting to run away, he intelligently puts question. There are 3 places he put question in Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 3, which is what we are seeing. Here he is asking why karma is important or yoga is important. You said jnana is important, therefore let me do jnana. Krishna patiently answered chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5, first question, first shloka. Because if you ask the same question to me 3 times, I will get angry. So you have to slightly change it. There is a psychology there. You know what he asked there? There he went in chapter 5, he asked, is sannyasa good or yoga good? He used a different word. Krishna was very patient. He answered. He thought everything was over. 18th chapter, first shloka. Bhagavad Gita is going to get over. In 18th chapter, in the first shloka, he asked, is tyaga important or sannyasa important? He camouflages what is he saying? I want to run away. Look at the sukshma of this psychology. This is something every one of us will go through in our life. Please understand. That's where I am coming to. There are occasions I want to run away from life. Why? Because my daughter is not listening to me, or something is happening in my office. I am very low. I am very low in my mood. What will I do? I want to run away. Many of the people think sannyasa means get out of everything and then you go. They think like that. Sannyasa means, no job. In fact, it really happened. One person went to Shankaracharya, Sringeri Shankaracharya. This is a true story. One person went to Sringeri Acharya and says, Acharya, Swamiji, I want to take sannyasa. So Swamiji asked, why? He said, I am being told if you take sannyasa, you don't have to do any shraddha, you don't have to do sandhyavandana, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that, life is easy. Sannyasa is not to, but when we are very low in our mood, we think in a particular way, that is called sannyasa. We want to give up everything and take my hands off. That is what this person is trying. Understand that part here. So the problem that Arjuna is going through is not his problem. The problem he is going through is a problem that we go through in our life from time to time. How do we actually address that problem? We need an answer for it. So that is the question here. So he says, you said jnana is better, karma is not good. Then why are you actually asking me to do that? This question continues. So let me go to the second shloka. So the second shloka he says, Vyamishreneva vakyena buddhim mohayasiva me tadekam vada nischitya yena shreyaham avapnuyam shreyasavapnuyam shreyah actually shreyah aham avapnuyam. All those are in sandhi. So now he says Vyamishrena. Mishra means mixed. Mishranam is mixing. So Arjuna is saying, you confused, you mixed 2 ideas. Karma is one idea, jnana is another idea. You mixed these 2 ideas. Your sentence was very confusing. Because why? The vakya is now Vyamishra. It's all mixed up. Your sentence has been completely mixed up. You yourself seem to be confused. He didn't say that. He said, I seem to be confused. Mohayasi iva. He never said you are confused. He had so much faith on Krishna. But he said, it looks like I am confused. He had a little grace in telling. He said, Mohayasi iva. My thought is confused. Maybe you told correctly. I think I am confused. Mohayasi iva me. Therefore, tat ekam vada. Tell me one year you are confusing. You said karma and then you said jnana. Then you are saying jnana. Now you are asking me to do karma. You decide. Tell me one. And in his heart he thinks he is going to say become a sannyasi. That is the psychology. In his heart he is thinking Krishna is going to give him an answer. Oh no, jnana is important. Go. Enough. Let's go to the forest. It's a very practical text. He didn't do it. Krishna did not do it. He needed 700 slokas to convince and tell the quality of life, the meaning of life. So, tad ekam vada nischitya. You decide. You seem to be confused. You decide, because what you say seems to confuse me. So, therefore, you have a clarity of thought first. Okay? Nischitya, and tell me that, yena, by that, I will get shreyas. See, this shreyas is a very powerful word. There is one Upanishad only on that. Kathopanishad. Shreyas and prayas. Shreyas is good. Prayas is pleasant. Pleasant and good need not go together. Prayas is pleasant. Shreyas is good. It's not, I am reminded of this shloka in chapter 18. I really, in chapter 18, Krishna talks about Sukham. Sukham that we get. Sukha. He talks about Sattva Sukha, Rajo Sukha and Tamo Sukha. And his definition of Sattva Sukha goes like this. Yat Arambe Vishamiva. When you start, it looks like it's poison. It's not good. It is not very interesting. That's the meaning. Yat Arambe Vishamiva Pariname Amritam. That is called Satvik Sukha. And what is Rajasik Sukha? He says, Yat Arambe Amritam, Pariname Vishamiva. So, that is prayers. This is shreyas. So, he is asking, tell me which give me shreyas, not prayers. So, he says, give me what is shreyas. That you decide, you seem to be very confused. You decide and tell me properly so that I will follow it. And his heart is beating faster. He thinks he is going to tell him that yes, now you become you give up all these, you pursue jnana. Now there are very interesting, again you have to look at the deeper idea here. You know what is the deeper issue here? This question is a very foolish question. If you get deeper. I was just listening to Swami Paramarthananda, he gave a very nice example. I want to share that because it comes to my mind. He says this question is so foolish. This question is like asking, should I wash my hand or have my food? How are you going to answer this? Do I wash my hand or have my food? You have to wash your hand first and then have your food. So washing hand is important, having food is also important. It's not either or. The choice is not either or. Please see this example. Don't ask a question, should I wash my hand or have my food? You can't choose between the two. There is another example which comes to me. It is like asking, should I get a PhD degree or enroll for a PhD program? This is again a foolish question. If you want a PhD degree, you have to enroll for a PhD program first. Go through the motions of it. Do the coursework. Do whatever has to be done. Subject yourself to the examination and become a doctor. Doctorate, PhD. Unless you get a honorary degree, that's a different thing. Okay? So don't ask a question whether should I enroll for a PhD program or should I get a PhD degree. What is the point I am making? So should I get karma or should I get jnana is not either or. Both are required. The first example saying you should wash your hand as well as eat food tells that karma is also required, jnana is also required, but it puts an order. in which you have to do. Don't eat the food and wash the hand. That anyway you will do at the end. This instruction is a different instruction. You have to first wash the hand and then eat the food. You have to do karma first. Then jnana. That is the sukshma of this dilemma. We have to understand it. The second example says that there is a process which leads to an outcome. We enroll for a PhD program. Do whatever has to be done. Then PhD will come. See, if a fruit is not ripe, don't take a stick and keep on beating it. You should go through the process. The great Mahamrutyunjaya mantra says that Triyambakam vijamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urva rukami vabandhanat mrityor mukshiya mamritaat. Urva ruka is cucumber. Cucumber fruit, when it becomes ripe, it will actually pluck itself from the plant. But if the cucumber fruit is on the floor, you never know when it got plucked. It will look seamless. If you take it, it will come. Mrityunjaya mantra says, keep me like that. I want to be in the world, but I should be like a ripe cucumber fruit. Which means when things happen, it should not affect me. Bandhor mrityor mukshiya. From this notion of bandha and death and all that, remove me like a ripe cucumber fruit. That is a natural evolution. Don't jump into it. Because I know people who have taken sannyas. And after taking sannyas, they do the big politics in the mud. Because they are still yet to exhaust their politics vasana. They are a very politically sound people. In organization, that's what they were doing all the days. One day they got disillusion with that. They said, now when you are disillusioned, you should become a sannyasi. But this vasana of politics, they did a great job there. They were creating so much problem in the mud. So Krishna is going to say that. Krishna is going to say that your question is foolish. I think it is 8 o'clock. I think with this question we will start today. And Krishna is going to answer, hey Arjuna, your question is foolish. Maybe you lack wisdom or lack clarity. This is the question all of us also go through. When going is not good, we want to run away and say, I want to give up everything. No, your time has not come. You have a very important role to play in this society, which is what he is going to say in this chapter in great detail. So we will start with Krishna's answer tomorrow, a short answer and then a detailed answer. We will see it tomorrow. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Shri Guru Charanaravindarpanamastu. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.